Welcome back, everyone. Today I want to talk a bit about patience and persistence when we are engaged in the game of life. And it's something that I've been thinking about in my own life as I've sort of encountered certain parts of myself which yearns for results now. I think many people have this sort of aspect within them that they want the fruits of their labor immediately, and they find it difficult to, delay gratification, to build a more long-term view of reality. We live in a culture of convenience whereby we can have anything we want right here, right now. Whether we want a pleasure, we'll just go out and buy it or take a certain drug or whatever. And or we can stimulate ourselves by scrolling on our phone and stuff. We live in an age whereby stimulation, novelty, any new pleasure is easily available to us. And I think this abundance of immediate gratification, it sort of corrodes our brain, it corrodes our dopamine system and our ability to delay gratification, our ability to cultivate a more long-term view of reality, and obviously the qualities of patience and persistence. Because of course, if we are to do anything of value, of genuine value in life, we have to understand that such things take time. If you want to grow a garden, grow some plants or whatever, you have to understand that nature has a natural growth trajectory, and it isn't good to rush the growth of it. It's better to allow it to take the time it needs. To use an example, consider someone who wants to become a bodybuilder, and they begin training, and before they've really mastered the techniques of exercising their body, they immediately take steroids to accelerate their growth. And that may lead to a situation where they grow muscles very, very quickly, but their body hasn't had time to adjust to that increased muscle mass. So perhaps there are issues with their tendons and stuff like that, not to mention all the other sort of issues with the body that result from taking steroids. And, you have to go on social media to see that, steroid use is widely almost normalized, and particularly much more so than it was in the past. And I suppose that is the symptom of a culture who really wants the rewards now. We're unable to really slow down and accept that life is a journey that takes time. And really the biggest things in life do take time. Take myself with making these sort of videos, trying to sort of build some form of a social media presence as a part of myself that wants to be able to sustain myself financially from this now, so that I don't have to worry about money and economic factors and stuff. But there's another side of me that notices that the more I fixate on that, the more I fixate on creating engaging or algorithm-friendly content or trying to build more of a presence, the more I get lost and caught up in that, the more I lose sight of the core essential reason of why I create these sort of videos. The central reason, the central source is to just speak openly and freely about things that I find meaningful and which arouse in me passion and curiosity. I've been trying to rush the process, and when you rush the process, when your art, when your creation becomes almost obsessively oriented to the outcome, getting a certain number of views or subscribers or whatever, and you're trying to really rush those events, you end up just getting more and more anxious, more and more restless, more and more agitated, and you lose sight of what really matters. And there's a saying, of course, in the Daoist, where I can't remember the exact phrase, but it's speaking about how if we are to be truly wise, we should do our work and let go of our expectations of outcome. Because when we get caught up in our expectations of outcome, we lose the ability to really do the work. We're obsessing about whether we're going to achieve the certain impact that we desire to. Our egoic obsessions really interfere with our creation. And this obviously creates a self-fulfilling prophecy, because when we are working and we're creating and we are fixating on the algorithmic pickup of that content, we're losing the soul in our creation. However, if our attention is oriented correctly, where we're doing the work and we're focusing almost entirely on creating something that is good and that is beautiful and that is of a high quality in substance, and if our mind and our energy is solely directed and channeled to that, then naturally it will achieve whatever outcome is proper to it. And that it could be that the algorithm picks up that content, it could be that it goes viral, or this or that thing. And I remember when I did have a post on Instagram that went viral a number of months ago, there was no expectation in my mind that it would go viral. I was merely focused on creating good shit, good stuff, outputting something of use and value to people. And when it did go viral and stuff like that, I was surprised, I was taken aback by it, and there was a good surge of attention to my content and stuff like that. But I remember following that, I was trying to sort of recreate that, and really getting frustrated when obviously you can't recreate it. And I guess in the many months that have passed, I've sort of come full circle to just remembering the core essence of why I create, why I work. And here I am now, just speaking openly to a camera, which is the fundamental essence of this. I'm not thinking about making this engaging or farming attention, trying to hook people in, all this sort of stuff. Because I find that stuff detracts from the central essence of what I do. What I do is meant to be enlightening. It's not meant to seduce you into the same old patterns of distraction. It's meant to awaken people, not put them back to sleep, And how can I honestly and authentically be someone who espouses the benefits of mindfulness if I am myself caught up in this very same system of distracting people and commodifying their attention? I understand the pressures on creators to sort of fall into those sorts of ways of being. But ultimately, it's not something that will serve you. But yeah, ultimately this whole journey has taught me that my attention and my energy should be solely oriented upon doing good things and doing good work, and in cultivating a deeper awareness of myself, of the topic that I speak about, and being able to articulate it and communicate it to people. That's what it means to be a teacher, a student and a teacher. And of course, a lesson for myself is to be patient on this journey, particularly when perhaps I'm not getting the kind of traction that my ego wants. Being able to understand that all the fruits of my labor will not come all at once. It will come over time. And I should just remain committed and aligned to the path and persistent in the path. But yeah, I think I'll leave that at that. That's been good and interesting and insightful for everyone. And enjoy the rest of your day, and goodbye.